Got it.
Although it still has the little
I see
mode
the
going.
I see the YouTube things up in the corner. So
Yep.
we're good. Okay.
Okay, we are good. Thank you.
So before we get started, commissioners, just please remember to keep your video on. And then, does anyone have someone in the room with them that you need to notify us about?
I do. Yeah, my draftsman is on the other side of the divider here, Winter Anderson.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, so the meeting of the Kailua Village Design Commission will come to order. The time is 2:04 p.m. Welcome, everyone. My name is Sean Roth. I'm the chairperson of the Kailua Village Design Commission. I will go down the list and introduce the commissioners that we have on the Zoom meeting today. We have Commissioner Jasmine Kursat, Commissioner Elena Kilkuski, Arn Werchek, Kalani Greenwell, and that's it. We need some more commissioners. Okay. The commission's role is to provide an architectural and design review of proposed projects, including landscaping and signage within the Kailua Village Special District. The commission is an advisory body. For sign permits, the commissioner's recommendations are forwarded to the Public Works Director for action. For architectural design review, the commission's recommendations are forwarded to the Planning Director for action.
I'm sorry, Sean. We lost Arn, so we do not have quorum at the moment.
Oh, he was there.
He was there. And I do not see him back in. I am going to just admit everyone who's in the waiting room, which I believe is all of our applicants, but there's one guest with just a number, so I'm not sure of who that is. So I'm just going to admit everyone.
I see applicants. I see a phone number. Yeah. That's a call in, no video. So that can't be Arn. He's got to have video. Does he know that he's not with us anymore? I wonder.
He did register again, which I admitted him again. So I'm not sure if he's having difficulties at his place.
Okay.
Okay, Arn, please get back on. So we have lost our quorum because Arn dropped out. So we're waiting to get quorum back. Hopefully it'll happen. So no Arn.
Should I call him, Chair?
Yeah. Does someone have a
I'm
way
gonna have to get a phone number from Noriko or something.
Hold on one. Oh, wait, he's back.
back? I don't see him on the list just yet. Oh, there he is. Arn, you're back. If you can get your video on. All right. I don't quite have his video yet. Arn, your video. I see his video is on on the participant list, but I don't see it in the other areas. Can anyone else see Arn? No. Arn, can you say something for us? Make sure that you're here with us.
You're right there.
So I don't think that counts, huh? No. He must be having trouble at his end. Arn, we can't hear you or see you.
Noriko is calling Arn just to see if what's going on his end.
So if we can't get everyone, then we have to defer until the next 2 weeks. Yikes. Not looking good. Not getting him. So maybe let's wait till like 2:15.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Can you
Oh,
see
I can
me?
see you too.
All right, I changed devices. I've switched over to a tablet.
All
My
right.
computer revolted again.
Okay.
It's revolting.
It looks like maybe you're going to save us.
That's all I'm good for around here anyways. I'm a quorum maker.
All right.
Where are my settings? Okay.
Okay, so I think we've got everybody back now. So we'll continue where we left off. So the commission is an advisory body for sign permits. The commission's recommendations are forwarded to the Public Works Director for action. For architectural design review, the commissioner's recommendations are forwarded to the Planning Director for action. The procedures of this meeting, the Robert's Rules of Order will be used to conduct the meeting. Each commissioner wishing to speak should be recognized by the chairperson before speaking. Applicants And members of the public should be recognized by the chairperson when testifying or asking questions. Public testimony was taken ahead of time, and there'll be an opportunity for people who want to testify today, I believe. Each application will be heard in the order listed on the agenda. Staff will introduce each project. Applicants will be asked to make a presentation or statement, which will be followed by questions from the commissioners. The commission, after discussion, will vote to make a recommendation for approval, denial, or deferral. The minutes from the previous meeting have been distributed. Are there any corrections to those minutes? Not seeing anyone unmute or raise their hand. So hearing no corrections, the minutes are approved. Are there any statements from the public?
No, Chair, it's Rosalind Newell. There was no comments received.
Okay, thank you. For the record, there's no statements from the public. The first item on the agenda is unfinished business from our last meeting. The application is PL KVD 2022-4018. The applicant, Kailua Partners LLC, is requesting design review of proposed 18 residential vacation units in two-story buildings and two two-story buildings and three one-story buildings at 75-5885 Kailua Road. The exterior colors include a combination of gray and tan, and use of metal roofing, stucco walls with horizontal bevel siding, entry porch, and windows with vinyl trim. The proposed development also includes off-street parking, pool, office with storage, and landscaping. This application was previously reviewed at the August 23rd, 2022 meeting, where the commission voted to defer to the next available meeting. The applicant is Kailua Partners LLC, landowners Kailua Partners LLC, CMK 75018-095, located at 75-5885 Kailua Road in Kailua Kona. Will staff please give us a sort of reintroduction to this project?
Yes, Chair, it's Rosalind Newell. I have a presentation here. Let me share it just a moment. Do you see that up on the screen?
Not yet.
Not yet.
No,
Oh, okay, because I have to hit share. Just a minute. Lost my You see it now?
yes,
Okay. Okay, so the applicant is Phil Tingley, and this is the proposed 18-unit multifamily residential development. And why isn't this working? This is off Kailua Road, and this parcel here circled in blue. And there's an aerial shot. It's vacant parcel. Here's a detailed description of the applicant and provided. Those in your package. It's zoned CV Village Commercial, Urban, State Land Use is in the SMA. They had a special management area use permit previously approved for, but it expired, so they'll be applying for a new SMA. And one of their next steps. This is the SMA was for a two-story mixed-use residential commercial project with two-story commercial office building as part of the project. We had also had a plan approval issued for it in March 6, 2006, which is also expired because by land use approvals are good for 2 years. And so it's for a commercial and 8-unit residential development. And at that time they had, I have pictures to show you at the end of the presentation of what it looked like. They had 3 buildings and they had the archaeological preserve saved up in the north corner, north portion of the parcel and then parking towards the front. And here's some pictures provided by the applicant. This is off Willow Road. See all the parking. There's a rock wall goes around the boundary along Willow Road. Overgrown. Sorry. This is a showing the footprint of the buildings, some of them. Here's the layout. There's the archaeological preserve site that's required to be preserved on site. This is the one-story buildings over here, buildings 3, 4, and 5, and then the two-story buildings are here, buildings 1 and 2 towards Kukini, and parking along Kukini, and then there's parking along here off Kailua. Let me get my pointer. There we go. There's the parking. Okay. And then the pool and the office and storage is right here. There's the floor plan. Well, I think the same commissioners were here tonight almost. Maybe Jasmine wasn't here. There's the these are the 2-story units. There's the elevation. I don't want to make this. Whoops. What happened? Okay. Go back. There's the elevation. And there we determined that was a metal standing seam roof, metal roof. There's the floor plan. Linear floor plan, long and narrow. Townhouse style. There's the elevation of the 2-story. More floor plan section. Oh, this is from, I tried to take a picture of those full-size plans, but this shows what the previous layout was before with the 3 buildings, A, B, and C. Let me move my pointer again. A, B, and C, and there's the archaeological site up in the north boundary, and then the parking over in this area, and then the landscaping all around the site. And I had one more shot. That's what the elevation of, that's what the building looked like before. And those are all my slides, but I went through it too fast. Let me know if you have any questions. Like, if there's anything you'd like to see in particular. There's the site plan.
Okay,
And then they have walking paths through here. These are the pedestrian paths from the buildings to the parking.
Thank you, Roz.
Yes.
Commissioners, does anyone have any questions for Roz? Okay, I'm not seeing anyone come up. So Roz, just it appears as though that these plans are pretty much the same that we saw at the last meeting, except for the opening slide. Were there any changes that we should be aware of?
No, we didn't receive any changes from the applicant.
Okay, great. Yeah, I just wanted to be clear about that.
I think that the only thing that was discussed at the meeting was the use of them as vacation rentals.
Yeah,
There wasn't any discussion on that. I don't think there was any changes requested on the design.
I want to get information when I were.
Okay, thank you, Roz. And so does the applicant have anything that they would like to present? It looks like someone, the applicant is there.
Hi, Mr. Chairperson. This is Jason Derringer and Phil Tingley representing the applicant.
Okay, go ahead.
Hi, well, this is Phil Tingley. I want to thank the Kailua Village Design Commissioners for convening this meeting, allowing us to present our application. I apologize for not being available or participating in the earlier session. Perhaps I could have provided or elaborated some of the history of this project. If there's some interest, I can travel the 18 years that our group has owned this property. We did concede, no, I won't say concede, we offered up to work with the county, as I think Roz pointed out back in 2006, when we went through this process earlier. Thankfully, we were right up to the building permit application with a 35,000 square foot commercial mixed use project. We pulled the plug on that. I had an inkling that the recession was about to take place, so we shelved that project for economic reasons. We just didn't see that the need to deliver that type of project to the community was warranted, primarily for the economic reasons. And it turned out it was a smart move for us. We then entered into escrow in 2019 with a hospitality group that was representing Wyndham and Hilton. The idea was to take this zoned property and turn it into a hospitality project. There was opportunities to get more water, which has been the constraining element to the project to this point. We have 19 water commitments. I think the application indicated 18. We have 18 residents, but 19 water commitments. We've worked with DWS, Department of Water Supply, regularly to determine if we can acquire or obtain more water to perhaps add more density. Every time it was met with certain objections. The group that did enter into escrow to purchase this property had an opportunity in working with a hybrid arrangement. I'm not really at liberty to, I don't know what the details of that arrangement was, but they were proposing to bring the density of rooms up to about 40 or 50 units in their development plan. The COVID came about. The group that was in escrow got uncomfortable, had a reason to pull the plug, perhaps rightly so, but it seemed like this was an obvious location to do what their intended plan was, all things considered. So a couple of years have passed. We decided as a developer to bring a lower density, more, in our opinion, urban use project to the commission and eventually to planning to process the necessary permits to bring this residential project to fruition, with the opportunity to put hospitality through vacation rental available within the Kailua Village corridor. We decided that we should reveal that as an intended plan, is to at least get approval to use these condominiums as vacation rental properties. We want to bring architecture, sustainabilities, and elements that haven't traditionally been seen with any regular basis to the village, to the community of Kona. We want to look at aggressive means of managing a smaller amount of landscape water and irrigation. We're reminded in West Hawaii regularly on not only this property, but elsewhere in the communities and the districts on the west side, that water is a very valuable commodity, and what we can do to manage it appropriately and minimally is tantamount. So this developer is certainly looking at opportunities such as artificial grass, maybe more rock use, etc. It should be noted that there is a significant archaeological site on the property. We were aware of that. We brought in Alan Hahn and Associates, who are highly qualified, and they did the investigation, wrote the mitigation reports. We implemented, because there are burials there, respectfully and culturally suitable for those that were involved, such as Curtis Tyler, representing Burial Council at the time, Uncle Billy Fields, entombed and encased the burial sites under Curtis's supervision, and Billy is most knowledgeable in matters of respectfully working with types of archaeological sites. So we were delighted to have their contributions to the mitigation process to date. We've also worked with county engineering. We dedicated on the north side, where there's a current sewer, to allow access by the public through a trail that is dedicated to allow people coming from Kuakini to traverse down on the north side of the property between the Kona Mansion condominium, the archaeological site, and our development to Walua Road, and right across the street adjacent Ali'i Cove is a trail that can take you down to Ali'i Drive. So it's given pedestrian passage to get from Kuakini Highway and parts above all the way down to the Leahy Drive and to where Honnold's Beach Park is, et cetera. Why, coincidentally, we were part of developing the Honnold's Beach Park back in the day. We contributed to the work that took the old buildings down, brought in sand, brought in some of the beach stuff there. Hopefully most know of us. We have focused as a development group on fitting in and working with the community. We are what I would characterize as boutique size. We're not trying to create major impacts. So when we decided to go forward with this, the zoning does allow in CV10 to put one residential unit per 1,250 square feet of suitable usable space. That seemed a little overambitious, certainly hearkening back to what we were proposing in 2006, which was a lot more commercial space, and we had 8 condominiums, penthouse condominiums in that plan. So we feel that this is bringing something that we're entitled to through zoning to the community, which is in the urban core, where they're not relying on automobiles. They can walk to the village, ride a bike, ride what we see frequently might be scooters, mopeds, skateboards. We feel that this will be appealing to those that may be tourists or that may choose to want to own a condominium individually close into town to have access to all the wonderful things that exist in the village. We're bringing some architectural elements that are more contemporary, more modern, which we believe is part of the trend of what's going on. We want to put air conditioning there. We want to put photovoltaic to offset the electric. We'll have solar water heating, of course. We'll be using state-of-the-art windows for performance. We're required to because of the energy codes, et cetera, that are now greatly enhanced over what's been built over the years on the Leahy Drive and in Kona. So anyway, that's my spiel. I probably took up more time, but I failed to be able to make a representation early on. So here it is. So are there any questions?
Hey, commissioners, does anyone have any questions for the applicant? Okay, I'm not seeing anyone unmute or raise their hand. Thank you, Phil and Jason. Okay, so next step is we'll move to discussion of this application. I think Commissioner Kurasat was the only one who was not here at the last meeting. At the last meeting, we had I think everyone had the various questions they had about aesthetics answered. And there was just a question of having enough votes in order to make a motion on it. Commissioners, does anyone have anything they'd like to add to the discussion?
I do.
Commissioner Ikuchi, go ahead.
I unfortunately, although aesthetically, if we're just going off of our personal biases, do I think that the buildings look nice? I do think that they look nice, but do I think that they follow the master plan for the Kailua Village in color, in design, and aesthetic? No, I don't think that they do. And so I'm not here to represent my own personal biases of what I think might be aesthetically pleasing or what's cute or what's not. You have to go off of the master plan. I don't think that they look consistent. I think they kind of look like that ultra modern view of what the original brew pub looked like, which we wanted them to come back with more revisions to make it look more culturally relevant. And that's what it's reminding me of. In addition, I'm not sure if anybody else here present for this meeting has the possibility of having any grandparents or ancestors that might be buried at said archaeological site, but that is a concern for me, or maybe I might be the only one, that I could have ancestors, direct ancestors that are buried on this property. It could be a possibility. And so for me, if I'm looking at what's going to be adjacent to ancestral burial sites, it is a very obvious concern for me. I still maintain a firm opinion that I do not think that short-term rentals are needed in this community, whether that belongs on this commission or not. It's part of my opinion as well. And in addition, when we're talking about sustainability, I do see a lot of pools, and you talked about artificial turf or artificial grass, which a lot of people assume is better for the environment because it takes less water. However, it absolutely destroys the soil that's underneath it. And there's like countless studies out there that show to it. So I'm not a fan of the project. I'll just be blunt and honest about that. I don't think that that's a shock to anybody. And so I do have environmental concerns. I have design concerns. I have cultural concerns. And I'm not going to beat a dead horse about what was already said at the last meeting. But any new information that's come up about this one, seeing what, overlooking what the actual design of it is, hearing words, those are just thoughts that come up in my head. And I don't know what you other commissioners might think about it. And I'm interested to hear what other commissioners have going on in their heads about it. And that's it.
Okay, thank you. Commissioners, does anyone else have anything they'd like to add to the discussion?
Hi, Commissioner Roth.
Oh,
Chair.
Commissioner Rosette, go ahead.
Did this application have a variance for parking as well?
I think that would be a question for staff. There was no mentions of any variance for.
There's no
parking.
application for variance for multifamily. It's 1.25 parking spaces per unit.
Okay, so there are, if I'm not mistaken, I thought I seen that there was only 23 stalls.
I'll have to look on the site plan to see what. I think I calculated there wasn't enough, but let's see here.
And Jasmine, compared to the previous plan that they showed with the commercial, there was considerably more parking for commercial because that requires a space for every 300 square feet.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
so the parking for a residential project like this is going to be, much less significant.
Well, they're counting 27 towards the front. And then another 7, so that's 31. I mean, 27 is 34 and 6 is 40, 34, 40. So they should have enough. I have to get my calculator out.
Yeah. Does that answer your question, Jasmine? Yeah.
Yes, sorry.
Okay.
Wait, let me see if you have 18 times 1.25, you need 22.5, you need 23, so they have more than required, the minimum required.
If I may jump in, we calculated a total of 28 is required, 23 based on the number of residential units and 5 for the office space. So a total of 28 and providing the 40 that you see on the plan.
Okay, thank you. Arn, you're unmuted. Did you have something you wanted to add to the discussion?
No, well, I will say, I'm not a big fan of short-term units being designed for short-term rental. But I realize it's kind of a fiction to say that they're actually permanent residential, intended to be residential units, when Mansions, Kona Pacific, and Bill Fisher, which are the adjacent projects, are all obviously heavily short-term rental and medium-term rental vacation units. So I think that's just a fact of life for that particular row of buildings. I also not wild about the modern design, but there's no consistency between Mansions, Kona Pacific, and Bill Fisher either. So to add another inconsistent, kind of makes it choppy, but that's just the reality of Kailua.
Okay, thank you, Arn. Does anyone else have any other discussion item? I'd like to add that the design of these units, I mean, at least it appears as though any of these units could be like sold as a condo or used as long-term rental as well. And so this is adding units, livable units to the village, which is not necessarily a bad thing. approve all the time, sort of the duplex and potentially fourplex units in other areas of the village. And in that case, the owners just haven't mentioned anything about how they're going to rent them. So I appreciate that this owner is just being right up front about it. Right? And personally, I think that a little more modern design is good, especially if you know, that's sort of the trend of things. And you know, what is historical? A lot metal roof on a metal shed roof. It has been used in Hawaii for a long time. So there's a lot of precedent for that as well. And I think that the new brew pub building is one of the better looking buildings in town. So if we go that direction, that's not a bad thing. Does anyone else have any other discussion items? Would someone like to make a motion to?
Hang on, Sean, I do want to say something.
Go ahead, Commissioner Greenwell.
Yeah, real quick. I agree as far as the look, it's definitely different than what's in the village, but I think you know, a lot has changed with the building codes recently, and I think a lot of the reason that modern buildings are looking the way that they do has to do with heating, cooling efficiency, the way light, you know, warms a structure, view planes, that kind of thing. And so I think it's, yeah, while it's probably not what we're used to seeing down there, I think there was a lot of thought put into the site layout and the layout of the units themselves. And I also think it's a little unfair of us to punish future buyers for potentially renting out as much as we might not like the short-term vacation rental thing right now. Like Sean said, it's what the market's calling for, and it's not always going to be the case. And at the end of the day, these are dwelling units, and what people decide to do with them, I think, is their business. And if it's that big enough of a deal to us as a community that we don't want that being done, then that's up to the community to enact laws to prevent that from happening. It's not up to this commission to decide what somebody does or doesn't do with their condo and their property that's zoned for this use. So that's all I have to say.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner Greenwell. I'm not seeing anyone else unmute or raise their hand. Would anyone care to make a motion regarding this application? Please.
I move to approve it.
Okay, so we have Commissioner Greenwell has made a motion to approve this application. Is there a second? No one is going to second it.
I'll second it.
Okay, Commissioner Kilkuski, second.
Yep.
Is there any discussion regarding the motion? Okay, I don't see anyone unmuting. Let's go ahead and vote on this motion. Roz, will you?
Sorry, I lost my mouse cursor. Hold on. I'm
Okay.
ready now. It's Roz. I'm ready
Okay.
to make the roll call vote. Commissioner Cruzat,
Abstain.
abstain, okay. Maker of the motion, Commissioner Greenwell,
Aye.
Commissioner Ikuchi,
Ole, absolutely not.
okay. Commissioner Kilkuski, second of the motion.
Aye.
Commissioner Kern is absent. Commissioner Warcheck,
Aye.
I think we need Well, no, we have 3 ayes and we have an abstain and a nay. So do we need the chair's vote in this?
Mm,
Or just,
I would vote aye.
that would make it a passing motion then, 4 votes, 4 aye votes. A motion to approve the project with 4 ayes.
Okay. Hey, thank you. So the motion is adopted.
Yeah.
So we'll move on to the first item of new business. First item of new business, application PL-KVD-2022-000022. The applicant, Samrit Onyang, is requesting design review of a 2-story duplex consisting of 2 3-bedroom units with 2 bathrooms each, 4 parking spaces, landscaping, and related improvements to be located on Ala Anono Ona Street in the Kona subdivision. A different applicant previously proposed a different design, which was reviewed by the commission at its August 24th, 2021 meeting and received an approval recommendation. The applicant is Samrit Onyang, landowner is 202112WY-10 LLC. The TMK is 75022-161. It's located at 75-197 Ala Ona Street, Kailua, Kona. Staff, can you please give us an introduction to this project?
Thank you, Chair. Let me get this PowerPoint up here. Okay, do you see that?
Yes.
PowerPoint? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, let me see if I can. Okay, so this is for the new duplex with a slightly smaller footprint than the previously approved design. Let me get my PowerPoint working here. This is up behind Kokini and Kalani Street, up behind McDonald's, which is, let me get my tool up here. Oops. Oops, that's not what I wanted. So it's up here in this circled lot, up in the just backs up the parcels that are up along Henry Street, anyways, the commercial lots. And here's McDonald's right here. There's the vacant lot right there. Here's the elevations of the 2-story duplex, 1 unit. They're attached by 1 unit on top, 1 unit on the bottom. They're both 3-bedroom units. I believe. Right, 2 3-bedroom units. There's the footprint. I'll show you the difference with the previously approved. In this case, I'm gonna make this larger. Oops. This case, the duplex is set way back in the lot, and this is the rear in the back. My pointer again. Oops, sorry. And then the parking's up front, and then Ono Street is up front here. Up front here. So there's room for 4 parking spaces up here in front, and there's going to be a landscape plan that shows the parking. Here's the floor plan. There's 3 bedrooms. Let's see if we can make this bigger. Bedroom 1, 2, and 3, all 3 bedrooms right there in the kitchen, living room. Can't read that. Lanai, or what is that? Over that must be a I'm not sure what that is. It says must be a lanai. Okay. Hard to read that, sorry. There's the electrical plan. There's the landscape plan that shows the parking for the 4 parking spaces. It's 2 parking spaces per unit on a duplex. So that means requires 4. So you can see it's set back. There's a driveway. There's all on the street. There's the exterior color chart. The exterior color is a rocky ridge. The exterior trim is Echo Valley, kind of a beige color, and the door and fascia is a hickory grove color, like a brown. Then they're using a asphalt shingles, this black color. And there is a type of the shingles on an example roof. This is the previously approved duplex, and you can see how much more of the parcel it took up. The footprint was much larger, and it had the parking in the front where it just backed up into the street, which is okay per the zoning code for off-street parking for duplexes, for two single-family dwellings or a duplex. And I didn't show this, but they also have a vegetable garden that they have in the rear. They showed a garden. I don't know if it's like a community garden for the to be owners, but this is a vegetable garden in the back, the square rectangle. This is the landscape plan for the previously approved project. For the 4 parking spaces in the front and landscaping around the perimeter. And this was the floor plan of the previously approved one. I think it had 4 bedrooms in 1 unit and 2 bedrooms in the top unit. And that's the exterior of the previously approved one. And that's the color chart. It had board and vet siding, metal seam roof, and stucco siding with the board and vet siding, and then dark brown vinyl windows and a dark brown aluminum railing. So any questions on any of these slides?
Okay, thanks, Roz.
Okay.
Commissioners, does anyone have any questions for Roz? I don't see anyone unmuting. Okay, does the applicant have anything that they would like to present?
No, everything's fine. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. That was Sarma Onion. Commissioners, does anyone have any questions for the applicant? Okay, I'm not seeing anyone unmute or anything. Okay, so we'll move on to the discussion of this application. I'm very much in support of this one. I think that we need this housing getting filled into these vacant lots right here close into town, especially when you're within walking distance of so many things. And it looks like the parking situation for this plan is better than the other one. So it's it seems to be a lower cost type of housing, which again is a good thing for the village, I think. Commissioners, does anyone have any discussion that they'd like to add? Not seeing anyone unmute or raise their hand. Okay. Would anyone like to make a motion regarding this application?
I'll move that we accept as presented.
I'll second that.
So that was a motion by Commissioner Wercheck to approve this application as presented, and a second by Commissioner Kursat. Is there any discussion on the motion? Okay, I don't see anyone raising their hand or unmuting. Let's go ahead and vote.
Thank you, Chair. It's Rosalind. We'll do a roll call vote. Commissioner Krusat, second of the motion.
Aye.
Commissioner Greenwell,
Aye.
Commissioner Ikuchi,
Aye.
Commissioner Kilkuski,
Aye.
Commissioner Kern excused, Commissioner Werchick, maker of the motion.
Aye.
Okay, great. That one passed with 5 votes.
Great,
Thank you.
so the motion is adopted. Thank you.
Thank
Okay,
you.
Okay, thanks. So our second item of new business, application PL-KVD 2022-000023. The applicant, Peter J. Piper, is requesting design review for a new church sanctuary and cafe for the King's Cathedral and Chapels at the King Kamehameha Mall on Kuakini Highway. Project consists of interior alterations to a 4,608 square foot portion of the existing building, demolition of an existing interior bar and outside patio space, the addition of 1,312 square feet, as well as additional landscaping. All exterior improvements will use the same materials and same colors as the existing building. The applicant is Peter J. Piper. Landowner is King's Cathedral and Chapels. TMK 75005-005, located at 75-5626 Kuakini Highway in Kailua, Kona. Staff, if you could please give us an introduction to this project.
Sure, let me get this up here on the screen. Okay, do you see that PowerPoint first slide?
Yes.
Okay,
I
great.
can see it.
Okay, that one's a little more jazzier than the rest. One day the PowerPoint was having more design options. Okay, so this is for the Kamehameha Mall for a new tenant space to be renovated for the new church and cafe. Let's see what's happening now. This is the location. It's hard to tell on this TMK map, but here's Polani. Let's look at my pointer. Here's Polani and here's Kuakini. And here's the parcel right tucked in right there. And right across the street is Firestone Plaza. Well, now it's a Lima Plaza. And here's the overview aerial image. There's the Aloha written in the rooftop. There's the rooftop image. There's some aerials, King Kamehameha Mall. Some outside image. Here's the beginning of the site plan. That's the outside elevation. They're not changing any of the exterior colors. They will be adding on for the outdoor space. There was an outdoor eating area. They're going to be closing that. This is the site plan that shows where the change of use is occurring. So giving you, here's Kuakini. So it's towards the back, and up here in the front was the outdoor eating area for, well, last time I remember going there was when it was the wine market. I know it's changed a few more times since then, but when the wine market was here, they had the outdoor patio. This will be the new cafe kitchen, so that'll be enclosed. So that's the addition of the new space. And then there's the parking. They also have agreements for off-site parking. That'll be worked on some more when they do come into our plan approval. But right now they have a plan approval that shows they have 63 parking spaces, and at the last time they had a plan approval in 2017, they had a requirement for 60 parking spaces for their current tenants. That'll go up once they have their the new church, they have their parking calculations up here up in the left corner. Let me see if I can get back down here and I don't know if we can read it now. They can't read it. Yeah, sorry. This is more on their floor plan for the sanctuary and the church cafe over here. Existing floor plan, which is mostly retail. More of the floor plan with the sanctuary and the cafe kitchen. I think that's all the slides I have. So is any questions on any of this slides that I have? Or questions on the project?
Roz, can you go back to the elevation views and maybe just point out what portion is the new part that's being built?
Yeah, do you see this?
Circled there?
Do you see this right here?
Yeah.
This is the addition. So this would be the outdoor, what's now the open kind of covered outdoor outdoor eating area that's towards Kuakini, I believe. And this is the existing structure, and this is another area of renovations for the church sanctuary. But this exists.
Yeah.
So this is a newer area.
Yeah.
And this is area of alterations, but they're showing this is existing structure.
That's on the Mackay side.
Yeah, so this, right. Mhm. So this would be faced more towards Kuakini.
Okay. Commissioners, does anyone have any questions for Roz?
And here's another showing the new addition.
And so that's like the Kuakini Highway side.
Right. Mhm.
Okay. Okay, commissioners, does anyone have any questions for Roz? No? Okay, do we have a representative of the applicant? Does the applicant have anything that they'd like to present?
This is Pete. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay,
Go ahead.
good. Yeah, I think Roz has covered it pretty well. The main point here is that, you know, the architecture is the same as what's there, and the colors and materials are the same, that they will match. There's no change proposed for that. So I really don't have anything other than that to add.
Okay, thank you. And so it appears that the new walls are going to pretty much be in line with the existing walls. It's just like completing the corner of the rectangle. And
That's correct.
So yeah, and that means also that then the roof overhang will be similar.
The same overhang, yes.
And okay, and in the drawing you can see it's the same pitch as well. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Commissioners, does anyone have any questions for the applicant? Oh, I have one other question. The cafe, will the cafe hours be different than the church hours?
The church sanctuary will primarily be used on Sundays, but the cafe will be open every day, as far as I know.
Okay, and open to the general public?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so that's good. So that'll add some additional daily activity to the building. Yeah.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Okay, any other questions for the applicant? Okay, let's move to discussion. I'll start off with saying that I'd be really happy to see something happen with the corner of that building because it's sort of been a disaster for quite a long time. And I like the idea that that some of this use is going to be a daily use that will help keep the activity in the building throughout the week. And then having the church there, again, that adds activity on the weekend. So it seems all very positive to me. Commissioners, any discussion items that you'd like to add? Okay. I don't see anyone unmuting or raising their hand. Would anyone like to make a motion regarding this application?
Make the motion to approve as submitted.
Second,
So we have a motion to approve as submitted from Commissioner Kursat and a second from Commissioner Werchek. Is there any discussion on the motion? Not seeing anyone unmute or raise their hand. So let's go ahead and proceed to voting.
Thank you, Chair. It's Rosalind to say motion to approve, and we'll do a roll call vote. Commissioner Krusat, maker of the motion.
Aye.
Commissioner Greenwell,
I,
Commissioner Ikiuchi,
Aye.
Commissioner Kiyokowski,
Aye.
Commissioner Kern, Commissioner Warchick, second of motion.
aye.
Okay, so that's 5 votes, so the motion passes. Project approved as submitted.
Great, the motion is adopted. Yeah, are there, so that's all of the new business that we have. Are there any administrative matters? I think I saw on the agenda that we need to,
Well, if anybody has any issues or conflicts that we can address with the proposed calendar. And then if we can please agree on a time for our daytime meetings. Our first one was at 2 o'clock. If this works for everyone, we can always continue at 2 o'clock, or we can choose a different time during the day.
so go ahead, Commissioner Werchek.
I would opt for a later start time if available. Our meetings, this is one of the longer meetings, and it looks like we're going to wrap up in approximately an hour. And then this one's only as late as it is because I messed up with my computer. But I think that later start time works better for me because it preserves the rest of my day consecutively. And so I prefer the latest start time that's consistent with what the county wants to do by avoiding extra overtime for staff. So I would say 3 or 3:30 start time should be more than adequate for us to get all our business done within normal staff business hours.
I do need to clarify that we have had relatively short meetings recently, but we don't want to assume that that is always going to be the case, especially as the economy and projects start coming in, or applications come in for your review. I caution starting too late for that reason.
But I would ask, when's the last time a meeting ran more than an hour and a half before I joined?
Yeah, they've been going pretty quick. So maybe sort of so that's sort of 3 hours of meeting time seems, that's on the long side. So maybe 2:30 or 3 o'clock.
I would vote for 3 o'clock if possible.
You know, that would give us 2 hours.
You know, if the agenda, if we find 3 weeks ahead that you've got 12 items on the agenda, then you send out an email saying that because we've got 12 items on the agenda, you need to start earlier. And is anybody going to object to a 1 o'clock start time for that individual meeting? But the rest of the meetings can routinely be set for 3 o'clock and easily be finished by 4 o'clock.
I would personally prefer a later start time just because I'm still working during this time. That's why I was late to today's meeting, is I was already in a work meeting, and I feel like that's probably consistent with a lot of people, that in the middle of the week at this time, people are usually working. And I think that might make it also more difficult for members of the public to show up if they want to. So I think for accessibility reasons, see, I know how we have to report on the people that are in the room with us. I've got my dog here. If you see him, he's a good boy. But I think for accessibility reasons, it would be good to have a later start time. I know for me, it would be better to have a later start time.
yep, agreed.
Yeah, I think the 3 o'clock might be good because that gives us a 2 hour time chunk. Okay. Oh, Deanne, you're muted.
Hour and a half.
Hour and a half. Oh, it's not till 5.
No, 4:30.
Okay,
That's still more than adequate for our meetings.
yeah,
And you'll know way ahead of time if it's gonna be any longer than that, then we can have a special meeting.
okay. I'll read really fast. Okay, so
Okay, so what I'm hearing is that the request of the commission is for meetings to start at 3, with an option of if there are a lot of applications that come in for your review, that you are open to starting the meeting earlier based on the amount of applications that are to be heard by any one meeting. But the
Yeah.
general start for the meeting is for it to be at 3 o'clock.
3 o'clock.
Does
Yeah.
anybody have any issues with the dates proposed for our meetings that was available for you to download?
Oh, I didn't realize that was on a download. I never.
Are they
looked at
still
it.
alternate Tuesdays?
Yes, basically.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Okay, so we are good to go then. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Okay, and then under announcements, I have on the agenda, it says the next meeting is tentatively scheduled for November 15th.
Actually, we'll let you know. I don't think I actually have any projects for that. I'm still working on that. We'll let you know.
Okay, so tentatively, but maybe unlikely. And so the last thing I'd like to announce is just to thank all of you for taking the time out this afternoon and letting this meeting happen. We're always very tight these days trying to get quorum, and so we really need everyone to be showing up, and and so I know, yeah, it's during work time and all this, and so thank you for putting the time in so that these applicants can be able to move on with some direction. I think if there's no other business, anybody have any other business? No? Okay, well, let's say that this meeting is adjourned at 3:11 p.m. That's pretty good. Less than an hour, right?
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.